Good morning, all of you. So, today we are going to learn about overloading member functions. These are the contents that we are going to discuss in this lecture. Why operator loading, what is operator loading is used, in streams, outstream, operator overloadings, function overloading, constructor overload. That means today we are discuss about what is overloading, types of overloading and further discuss their types. Now what is operator overloading? The mechanism of giving new meaning to an operator is known as a operator overloading. That means we are giving new definition, redefinition of existing operator is known as a operator overloading. Now why we are using operator overloading, what is the need of operator overloading? That means if we have an existing number of operators, then what is the requirement of operator overloading and the need of operator overloading? First is readability code. That means if we want to change their code, then we overload the existing operators. Extension of language to include user defined types, that is classes. Make operators sensitive to context. Generalization of function overloading. Now what is overloading? What is the rules, methods for implementing the operator overloading? If we are implement the existing operator, what effects or side effect on operators, existing operators? Is there a definition of existing operator is changed or not? So this is going to discuss in this slide. Operator return their precedence and associative even when overloaded. That means if an operator is plus, that means their precedence is retained, is same as it is defined in their built-in functions. Okay, but we can overload that operator also. Operators retain their number of operands. If we are overload a existing operator, their number of operand is same. It can't change if we overload an operator. Can't redefine operators on built-in type. Not possible to define new operators. This is a disadvantage of operator overloading. That means we can't redefine or we can't generate new operator. We can only overload the existing operators, we can't generate new operators. This is a simple example. Without operator overloading, if we are performing a function, like we have a class complex and we are taking double is a data type and two variables. Public section, we can define a constructor. Okay, so this is a constructor and we are performing their define their function, but we can access this function with an object. Okay, and we are passing two arguments. In same case, we are considering taking second object and their values, and third object, and in third object we are passing the values of object second, and on that we are performing simple addition with using two objects. That means two objects taking addition, simple. In this we are using without operator overloading. We are simple getting the values after additions of two objects. Addition of two objects going to store in third object. Okay, in this we can't implement the operator overloading. Okay, this is a simple as we are doing from starting of the C++. Okay, it's a simple addition. We are taking two values, addition of two values and store in third variable. It's like a ordinary arithmetic operations, but same function if we want to implement with operator overloading, then what is the method and how we can implement that previous program into operator overloading. That means in operator overloading we are using the operators. Like previous slide, we are performing the arithmetic operations plus multiplication and addition also. Okay, so if we are overload the operator, then we are not require any object in that place. Okay, we are overload the operator and only place the name of the operator. Okay, like this, name of the class and two values of double data type, and here I take constructor function, and here I just taking two or three functions of operators. Here is an syntax, complex is a return data type, operator is the keyword, and here we are placing which or what operator we can overload. What type of operator we want to overload, we place here before after the operator keyword. And in operator overloading we are passing two objects. Here we are passing first object and second object. In the same manner we are writing return type, operator keyword, multiplication into and passing to augment of object. Okay, and in the same manner we are passing these values and placing the operator here. Here general syntax is, whenever we want to overload the operator, here is the syntax: return type, either a class name, integer, float, character, any data type, and operator keyword is used, and here we are placing what type of operator we want to overload. And if there is a number of parameter 1, 2, 3 and 4, we are passing here number of parameters. Return type may be whatever the operator returns. That means what type of values we are getting after any calculation, either that value will integer or float. If we are getting the value in float after calculation, but it returns in integer value because our return type is integer. Okay, so what type of value we are getting or return after their calculation, that affects through return type. And operator keyword or operator symbol may be any overloaded operator from the list. Okay, next we have a number of operators that we can overload. Some operators are not overloaded. Okay, here next we are discuss. And what are the rules? There are some rules for overloading the operators. Only existing operators can be overloaded. New operators cannot be created. Okay, so here is a rule. That means we have a list of number of operators. Only that operators can overload, and new operators cannot be generated. Some of the existing operators also not overloaded. The operator overloaded must have at least one operand of user defined type. Okay, one operand is must for operator overloading. We can't change the meaning of the operator. The operator overloading follows the syntax rule of the original operator. We can't change the syntax of existing operator. We just follow the rule of existing defined syntax of operator. Unary operators overloaded by mean of member functions take no arguments and no return values. Okay, only in the unary operators we can't pass any arguments, no parameters, and even they are not returning their values. We have to display that value into particular function only. Binary operators overloaded by mean of member functions take single parameter. That means here is a difference. In unary operator we can't take any parameter, then there is no return values, but in case of binary operator we are passing single parameter and it returns a value, but overloaded by mean of friend functions take two parameters of its class and return a value. Okay, if we are suppose if we are creating a function, member function of that particular class that are not private, that are simple public function, and we want to overload a binary operator. Okay, so that binary operator requires a single parameter and it returns value. But if we are taking non-member function, that means that member function may be a friend function. Okay, so that friend function requires two parameters. That means in friend function we are taking objects. Okay, so friend function take parameters of its class, like objects of two classes, and they are that friend function taking the values from two classes like A and B, object of A, object of B, and taking the values from these two classes and performing the operations on it. Okay, the precedence and associative of an operators cannot be changed by overloading. These are the operators that can be implement or overloaded. Some of these operators that cannot be overloaded, like this dot operator, dot into, scope resolution operator, expression operator. These four operators we can't overload it, and rest of the operators we can be overloaded. Operator overloaded function can either be a non-static member function definition or a global function definition. That means global function definition means that function may be a friend function of that class, and friend, if we are performing a friend function of that class, that means that friend function requires two parameter. Okay, because that particular function is a friend of two class. Okay, if we whenever we are overloading operator, we must have to learn the syntax rule of operator overloading. Okay, from one rule is we have to use a operator followed by the symbol for the operation being overloaded. Okay, which type of operation we want to overload. Before that we have to place a keyword named is operator. Operator overload function is a function just like any other function. It does not have the different syntax, different function. It defined like the same function as we are performing a simple member function, but only we have to write the operator keyword, and it can be called like any other. For example, A dot operator plus B. We have passing one parameter and through one object we are calling. In shorthand we are writing A plus B. If operator overload functions declare global, then how we can define? Like in this way, operator, operation, two parameters. It can also be reduced as A plus B. Unary operators can also be overloaded, but previously we have discussed that unary operator has no argument and they are returning no value. If a unary operator is defined as a global function, so that global functions require at least one argument. Okay, so unary operator can overload as non-static member with no argument. If that unary operator overloading function is a non-static member, with no argument. If that same unary operator function is defined as a global function, then we have to passing one argument. Argument must be class object or reference to the class. Okay. Why non-static members? Static functions only access static data. That's why we are using non-static functions. Non-static functions using normal variables, but static functions only access the static data, not what is needed for operator functions. Okay. Overloading binary operations. Last section we have discussed unary operators. Unary operators has no arguments, no value. If we are implementing unary operator as a global function, then is one argument have to pass. That one argument should be a reference of the class or object of the class. Okay. So here is the binary operators. Binary operators non-static member function with one arguments, because binary operator requirement is one operator is necessary. Okay. If we are changing or implementing binary operation as a global function, then we require two arguments. One argument must be a class reference or class object. This is the mechanism by which the compiler prevents you from redefining built-in operations. Binary operator overloading. If a non-static member function, it needs one argument. Okay. If we are implementing binary operation as a friend function, as a global function, then it requires two. And here is a difference. Unary operator does not require any argument and return no values. On the other hand, binary operator, if we are defining that binary operator as a non-static members that require only one argument and return a value. In the case of unary operator, if we are passing, if we are using unary operator as a global function, then require one argument and return a value. Whereas in binary operators, if we are declaring binary operator as a global function, then requires two parameters and returns a value. Okay. Here is an example of binary operator. String is a class, and here we are placing or defining the operator, and these operations are going to perform. Here we are passing a one argument must. It is a reference of the class, and in shorthand we are writing y plus, here is the operator overloading, and z becomes y dot operator, and we can write this as a this. If a binary operator is defined as a global function, it needs two arguments, like one is one argument and second is we are passing objects of two classes. One is x and another is z. Here is the two argument. It is a unary operator example. Class first, xy is a two variable integer type. In public section we are declaring the three functions. First is get data, passing two values, two parameters, display function, and main is the operator overloading. Which operator is overloading? Minus operator. Minus plus is a unary operator. And here we are defining a function outside the class. Whenever you defining a function from outside the class, then we have to follow the following syntax: return type, name of the class, scope resolution operator, name of the function, and their arguments and their number of statements. Here is a x is equals to a, y is equals to b. Okay, second is display function. It also defined outside the class with scope resolution operator. Then third function is a unary operator overloading. In here we are return value, return type, class name, scope resolution operator, and operator keyword is used with unary operator. Okay. So, unary operator value is x. If we are getting value x and it becomes, suppose we are getting the value x is 20. Okay. So, after the implementation or performing their operation, value converted in minus x. If we are getting x 20, then it becomes minus 20. Y is equals to minus y. That means, if we are getting value minus 10, then it changed to plus 10, because we are placing here minus y. And here is the main function, and how we are calling the operator functions, operator overloaded functions. Like simple functions call with the object dot name of the function, if there is any argument, and pass that arguments within the braces. Here we are calling the simple member function with object dot simple member function and passing two arguments. Next, see out before calling unary operator. Okay, whatever we get the value from the object, and same as it is, we are displaying f dot display. Okay. So, in this way x is 17 and minus 35. That means, as it is, we are getting value 17 or minus 34. Okay. After performing these two statements, we are getting the value, output is here, we are getting the value x is 17 and y is minus 35. Okay. After calling the operator overloading, we get the value minus 17 and 34. How we can call the operator overloading function? Here is a syntax for, we does not require any object to call that operator overloaded functions. We are simply write the operator that we have overloaded it, operator, then object. We are not using object dot function name. There is no rule for calling operator overloaded functions. We are just placing the operator, then object. Object is f and operator is minus f semicolon. That means, here is a calling of function. See out after calling unary operator, that means, after performing the section of operator overloading, what will we get the value? Value is minus 17 and 34. But actually what we get from the user, from the object, we are getting the value 17 and minus 34. But after calculation of unary operators, we get the value x is equals to minus 17 and y is equals to 34. Now, next part is function overloading. Firstly, we discuss what is overloading, types of overloading. Types of overloading, we have two types of overloading, three types of overloading: operator overloading, function overloading, constructor overloading. Here, second is a functional overloading. Functional overloading is a concept that allows multiple functions to share the same name with different arguments type. That is, function definition can have multiple forms. That means, we have number of functions, their name is same, but their return values and their argument that should be differ. Their values, their name is same, but they are performing different tasks with different arguments and different return values. Advantages of functional overloading: eliminates the use of different function name for the same operation. If we are performing the same operations in different section, we want to perform that. Okay, like some operation, like shape operations, we want to performing in a class, that means shape is of different types. We are performing the same functions, okay, but name of the function is same, but in same functions we are performing different implementation, different operations should perform, okay. So name is same, but their function, their implementation is, the interior part is different. They are not similar or they are not interrupting each other functions. Easy maintainability of the code, help to understand and debug the program. For example, here is a simple example of swapping of two numbers, like we have a value of x is equals to 20 and y is equals to 30. In case of swapping, we want to change the value of two variables. That means if x is 20, y is 30, in swapping, after swapping we get the value x is 30 and y is equals to 20. Okay. Then how we can implement these operation with using functional overloading, okay. So here we are three functions. In three function, they are performing different operations. One is for integer, another is for float, and last one is for character, but their interior part is quite similar, but their values is different. Their function is, interior part is same, but their values is different. One is performing for integer values, another is calling for floating values, another is calling, last is calling for character values, okay. So three values performing the same swapping function, but their name is same. So name is same, their interior, their passing arguments or values is different. One is for integer, float second, third is for character. So we are taking a temporary object of integer type, passing the first value to the temporary, then x is equals to y, and now y is empty. So y taking the value of temporary. Here is the swapping is performed. One value is transferred to the temporary. Now one value is empty. One value get the value from second, and second get the value from the temporary. Here is the swapping. Like here is a simple main function. We are taking two arguments a, b for integer type, and with c out we getting the integer values. We are storing the values a and b and calling the swapping function for integer values, okay. So integer type variable is calling, and after swapping the value is changed and it's shown as this. And same we are taking the value of floating c and d, okay, and that c and d floating value is passed to the swapping function. After swapping, the floating value is shown your c and d, and same like integer and float, we getting the value of character. We are taking two values of characters and enter the characters. We are storing that. Here is a mistake, here is a mistake, okay. So c in c1 and, okay, so pass two arguments. Next is the swapping. After swapping we get the value. So here is an output, we get the value 17 and 45. After swapping, it swap their positions, 45 then 17, and then in the same case floating and in character. Now next is constructor overloading. Now firstly we have to learn out what is a constructor. A constructor is a special method that describes how an instance of the class called object is constructed. That means how the object is constructed with the constructor, okay. Whenever an instance of the class is created, constructor is called, okay. Whenever we are placing the value in the main, like in main we are name of the class and creating the object, in the simultaneous in the next line we are calling, the next statement is calling the constructor function. C++ provides a default constructor for each and every class, which is a constructor with no parameters. Okay, default constructor means they are automatically called whenever the object is created and with no parameters, that is default constructor. One can define multiple constructor for the same class